You better be thankful there's no... You better be thankful there's racing line for this one, because this is... There's a lot of blind corners in this one. Oh boy. Okay. Alright. We need to regroup here. I'm not really giving myself much display of talent. I mean, well, lack thereof, realistically. See, like... They're lucky they had the racing line activated. Again, that's a blind corner. Guess you gotta turn in a little bit later there. Oh, and I lost it getting back on throttle in the grass. We got a couple of minutes to go here. I'm just trying to complete even a lap, just to get a good little inkling of what this race is going to be like, but for the time being, I couldn't tell you. I can't get one clean lap. Yep. No, there we go again. Just fucking hell, bro. This is not possible. Thank you, Brian Mosser. I'll get to that momentarily, but for now... Let's just get at least one somewhat clean reconnaissance lap in. We'll ignore that I've just gone off track there. Okay, let's... A little bit of slide on the back end there. It was a little sketchy. This is the really scary part here, is this braking zone atop the hill, because genuinely there's no indication that it's even there. They gave us reverse layouts instead of just alternate. I would have been happy with the MotoGP layout of this, or like the national circuit. Slipped it again. Alright, one more good lap here. Let's see a somewhat represented, not even a representative time. I'll take a time that's not on an invalidated lap at this rate. Yep, well, that didn't... Get the hell out of here, man. That's terrible. Problem is, you can't really take that corner any quicker. There's no runoff. Even if you keep it within track limits, you have to go slow. And even if you go wide, you can't really keep it there, because if you run wide, you can't extend the track, because there is no track to extend. That's not even hardly hitting the brakes. I did not go off track. Okay, so we were braking about 150 meters that time. I think it's going to take some actual balls to try to outbrake somebody into that downhill lefter. Okay, so probably 104s then is what we're looking at for this one. That would be my guess. Because if I'm running 106s, you got to assume the D2 guys are at least the D1 guys are at least 2 seconds quicker. See, the best thing about not being able to be monetized is that you can't get bagged for, what do you call it? You can't get bagged for copyright. I can play whatever music I want. Nobody's going to come after me. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, you're making money off of Metallica." No, I.
Talk to me. How you living, G? You look so confused right now. Do you remember me? Cause I've been with you since a teen, fucking you up mentally. I love it, dude. Staying inside your head with a rent is free. I'm just here to make sure you keep all your crazy tendencies. Look at yourself in disbelief, struggle with your identity. Stuck in depression until you diagnosed with it clinically. How's your love life? It's still a trifling mess? Nigga, you 35. You haven't found a...
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the penultimate round of Season 16, and welcome to a track that we've never visited before. This is the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, in the reverse direction. We are on for what could be a good one, could be boring, could be anywhere in between, but what it could be also as well is a night where Race Day 2016 claims the Drivers' Championship yet again. He needs to outscore that of his immediate championship rival of Fire Up Flow by a total of 12 points in tonight's Grand Prix, and he can walk away with the Drivers' Championship once more. Let's take a look at the Drivers' Championship as we say that. This is following last time out in Saudi Arabia. Race Day leads with a 50-point gap, 608 to 558. It's Fire Up Flow in second, Shankadelic third, Weeb fourth, Shariah fifth, Cake sixth, Callie Robb seventh, Ayahuasca eighth, Cam Tissel ninth, and Houdini rounds out the top 10 in the drivers' portion of it. As far as the constructors are concerned, the Red Bulls have a 134-point gap to the Mercedes in second, the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls F1 team in third, the Ferraris in fourth. Alpines take up fifth. The stakes are high for Sauber in sixth. The seventh belongs to McLaren. Eighth, Haas. Ninth is the Willies. And then 10th is the Aston Martin team. 17 drivers on the grid for this one. Should be quite well here. But again, we are just waiting to see who will be our first driver out on track in the history of what could be, again, a bunch of nonsense. But it could also be quite fantastic. And thank you to Brian Mosser saying that's clear and dry throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. So we're going to get ourselves a fun one tonight. So, no, you are not tripping on psychedelic drugs this evening. You are seeing this correctly. This is the Red Bull Ring, Spielberg, Austria in reverse. Travis Scott is going to be our first driver out on track. I got to find a track map now. Considering that this is all just a bunch of reverse situation nonsense, I tell you the truth. As you can see now, going up the hill, what is usually turn, was a 4 on the downhill portion of it, but no, well, yes, that's exactly what it is, turn 4. This is actually turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this direction. 8 at the corner of the hill on the way down. 9 is the kink that doesn't really exist. That belongs as turn 2 in real life, and then as well, turn 10 at the bottom of the hill. We're going to go along with Travis Scott as he makes the first official timed lap in Midwest history of the Red Bull Ring in the reverse direction into the Niki Lauda corner of turn, what is normally 1, turn 10 in this instance. Down the hill, DRS activated, and not across the line there. This is where the line is. Up the hill in towards turn 1. It's a bit of a weird braking zone, this. Not a lot of room to the inside, and of course you could go outside and go wide and lose traction to the grass, as well as just basically hit anything. Turn 2, now over towards turns 3, 4, and 5. This little left-right combination there. Actually, kind of a fun section. This right-handed corner coming up here, totally blind unless you're kind of going out of your way looking for that apex. Back on the throttle as you go, up towards turn 7 now. Again, a bit of a weird apex this, considering how you got to take the kind of first phase of the corner directly straight in under braking. Then obviously it's the tight left-handed up the hill. DRS activated now. This is the by far worst corner on the track here. Turn number 8 here. Totally blind apex to the corner until about there. If you're not braking at about 100 meters or more, you are not making that corner, and there's not a lot of room to the outside as per naturally there. Down the hill, turn 9, in towards turn 10. This, again, no runoff on the exit. You'll have to take that one cleanly. That will require stainless steel balls to be able to make an overtake there, as well the DRS in towards turn 7. 105.487 is the time for Travis Scott. I assume we'll see higher, but that wasn't a bad lap there. Cam Tissel will begin one now. Kate Thomas will be the next driver across the line, and across the line he goes, and it will be second. 106.128 for him. 6.5 tenths of a second there. The Aston Martin that was an Element as well has actually just crossed the line. Got the McLaren, I believe, is that Fire Up Flow. Yes, Fire Up Flow, the championship second place for the time being on track now. Nicky 64, 105.271 makes his way to the top spot. The Red Bull of Shankadelic has just made his way onto his initial time lap. We get a yellow flag. It's a Sauber off to the inside. That's over atop turn, or at the base of turn 7. I don't quite know what's happened there, as now we also have the Aston Martin of Element who's gone off. This is to the inside of turn 5 and 6. Well, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Turn 4 and 5, actually. And he is going to continue to go off-roading here until he can find a safe time to re-enter the track. We've got the Aston Martin, his teammate Cam Tizzle, coming around the line now. I believe he's had a trip to the gravel somewhere along the line, but 104.638 for the Aston Cam Tizzle, 6.5 tenths better than Nicky 64's provisional second-place time now. That's got Weeb making his way on a time lap. Now, I believe that was that the Alpine of Kate Thomas into the pit lane? Yes, it was. McLaren of Fire Up Flow goes second place, 4.5 tenths off. The Sauber of Travis Scott's has just crossed the line again. I believe this will be an additional flyer from him. Shankadelic will go fourth, 7.5 tenths off the top as well. Next coming around the line is the Mercedes, again, of race day. 9 1/1000ths of a second the difference between himself and Cam Tizzle at the end of his first flying lap. By the way, again, race day 2016 with a 12-point advantage over Fire Up Flow tonight. Sorry, let me rephrase that. He's got 50 points over Fire Up Flow. 12 points, the difference in how many he scores over Fire Up Flow tonight. And he will win the Drivers' Championship yet again here. Making his way now through turn 6 and 7, as you can see. We have next across the line, I believe, is going to be the Williams of Gottney Weeb. And across the line for him, what does he have in store? That'll be third place for him, 104.951. Not a bad time at all. Aston Martin next up of Element. Let's see what time he's got. Sorry, this is actually invalidated. I was thinking about Cam Tizzle there. Tizzle might actually be starting into the time lap here shortly. McLaren of Brian Mosser into the gravel there. I'm wondering if... Well, we have a fair bit of drivers have actually yet to put together a timed attempt. Houdini on back in the order of... actually still kind of remain in the pit lane, although Element has... Of course, been out on track. He's invalidated that previous time. Brian Mosser, I think, as well, as this is not going to be a flyer for him. And Kelly Robb might be on one here. We'll have to wait and see. About 50 seconds there through Sector 2. Yeah, I tell you what, this is definitely... I don't think that it is. If it is, it's not a very quick one for Kelly Robb. No, he's going to finish P10 there, 106.716. As the McLaren of Brian Mosser has not fared much better, although perhaps has he been able to get that car back ready for another attempt here. We got a Mercedes off the track. No, race day has gone for a bit of a spin here. Yes, he has. This is exiting turn 4. As Cam Tizzle 104.507. I'm just wondering again where race day has lost the car in this episode here. I wonder if he's kind of just gotten on throttle a little too generously, because he was spun to the outside. Typically you see cars to the inside of the corner, having bit the throttle, spun around, and then into the grass on the inside. He's actually going to the gravel on the way out, so I wonder what's happened with him. The Sauber coming around the line of Ayahuasca. This ought to be a good one. Down the pit straight and across the line, beginning the timed lap here for Ayahuasca, up the hill in towards turn 1, which I believe is the Jock and Rindt corner. Named after the posthumous Formula One world champion in 1970 after his untimely death at Monza that season. He ended up able to win the title, as Element's actually gone disqualified here for going the wrong way. What's happened here? Well, I can tell you maybe what he's done. I think he's missed the entry to the pit lane, and he's wanted to have his way back in. And, well, unlike Burger King, you can't have it your way in this instance, as, he's been disqualified from the session, unfortunately. Ayahuasca up the... I would assume the back straight here, realistically, in this scenario. In towards turn 7, down the hill. It's going to push a little bit wide. I think there was probably better ways to take that corner. You can see the car was going to push straight. Finally, the front wheels kind of bit the traction there, and he was able to turn in. But I think there's probably going to be quicker ways about it than that one. As Ayahuasca in 2.5 tenths there. Remember, if race day 2016, remember the season 9 champion, which I believe was the first full season on F1 22. He has since also won 13, 14, 15, and now could win 16 in this as well. And again, as you remember, Scornsey, 5 times champion in his own right, and race day could tie that very hallowed record here with 12 points greater of a finishing result than that of Fire Flow. That was that of Scornsey, the Red Bull, who we were just talking about there. 104.378. Making our way towards the, what I would assume is more closer to the midway point of this qualifying session. We have a yellow flag for whatever Red Bull that is going through the final corner. We got 8 minutes 18 remaining in the session. Scornsey belongs to the top spot, 104.378. Ayahuasca is the next driver out on track, who I believe is on a flyer at this point. He's at a 10th quicker through Sector 1. Let's see how he is through Sector 2 here. A little bit better on the brakes that time. Yeah, that looked visibly better than his previous go-through. Let's see. Yep, quicker by 0.2 of a second. Purple Sector 2. This could be on for provisional pole here for Ayahuasca on the brakes. Right at about where that green paint begins before the curb. At the left-handed at turn 10. The Niki Lauda corner across the line for Ayahuasca. Only third. 104.518. Takes off 2.5 of a second off of his time. Or, well, more 2.25 tenths, but, yeah, now within 1.5 of the top spot. This is going to be a very competitive top end of the grid here, as Fire Flow can only manage 5th on that attempt. On the line now is Lancey, the Dutchman, in the Visa Cash App Racing Bull. Up the hill, maybe a little bit shy that time through. Is he actually on a flyer here? I can't quite tell. He doesn't quite look it. No, he definitely is. Is he? We'll have to wait and see what his time looks like. Of course, he hasn't put a time quite yet on the board, so we'll have to come back and have a look at that one maybe a little bit later. But Sauber of Ayahuasca, this will be his in-lap. You can tell he's running out of fuel. Race day has begun an additional outlap. We've got the Sauber of Travis Scott's getting ready to make an additional run here through the first corner. Again, could have maybe taken a little bit wider, carried some more speed on the way through, but it's such a difficult corner to go through that. There's obviously no runoff to the inside, and 10 is very similar in the same way. There's no runoff on the inside, and we'll go along with Weeb here to see what I'm talking about. Down the pit straight and across the line. Beginning another time lap here. Here you go. No room to the inside. Go to the outside. There's grass immediately, and of course it's so easy to exceed track limits there and invalidate your time. I think it's kind of going to be more about safety in through that first corner than really anything else. Obviously, it's about safety anytime you're in the first corner off the start, but I mean, this in particular, so much extra. There's nowhere to go to the inside. There's just nowhere to go, nowhere to hide in through that corner. So it's going to be quite the task for them to be quite comfortable through there. I'm expecting at least 2 DNF off the start, to be quite frank with you, or at least 3 sets of front wing. Hammer the over on that one if you're the gambling type. 5.5 minutes remaining. Scornsey looking to begin a additional timed lap here. Down the hill he goes towards turn 10 to begin his flying lap here. Down the pit straight and across the line for Scornsey. Let's go along with him. And through this first corner, took the entry a little bit wider. Yeah, you see, that's more of a good line through there. You could tell that's the ideal line. Take that initial offering a little bit wide, cut across the inside as much as you can, go out wide, and, you know, keep it within track limits. That was a great way about it for Scornsey. And, of course, as you see there, 2.5 of a second quicker already through Sector 1. Nice and smooth on exit as well. In towards turn 7 now. Again, wide on entry to the apex. Maybe could have taken that section a little bit quicker there, getting on throttle. Again, it is... Oh, sorry, Travis Scott has picked up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Niki 64. What's going on here? That was a little odd. Niki doesn't appear to be missing any front wing. So I'm assuming Scott's was the driver to have gone into the back end of the Alpine in that instance, but very odd indeed. 0.4 of a second quicker through Sector 2 is the Red Bull of Scornsey down the pit straight and across the line for the most successful driver in Midwest history, 103.913. And he's got Cam Tizzle by 0.6 of a second. What a monstrous first lap. That was a monstrous lap there that was for Scornsey. Incredible stuff. Ayahuasca making his way on an out lap as well. Across the line is that of Race Day. This, I believe, will begin his flyer. Yeah, you see, takes it wide over the curb. Now, he's actually taken that one wider than Scornsey. I think he might actually be slower. A little bit of a correction in there. The car, just trying to keep it within grasps, I guess. And it kind of looked as if maybe a slight bit of a handful through that first section. A little bit late getting on the throttle there. 300ths slower through Sector 1. Oh, and he's invalidated there. Just that snap of oversteer getting kind of in through the corner. And I tell you what I was about to say is that car did look slightly a handful in the early offerings of that time to 10. Does not look as comfortable as you'd like in that scenario, I would say. Nicky 64 now, as we can see. Turn 4, 10.5 quicker through Sector 2, Sector 1, Turn 5 this is where Race Day just had his off. 2 minutes 40 remaining. Turn 6, and then this is Turn 7 here. Yeah, again, I tell you what, they're slightly tentative. Getting on the throttle, going up through Turn 7 there. I wonder if that's going to be a common theme, is just kind of losing the back end on acceleration through that section. Because again, it did really look as if that was a slightly, not dangerous is not the right word. As you see, Cake Thomas, that one was more smooth. But again, you almost feel as if they can pick it up a little quicker than they are. Like, you look at that and you kind of say, maybe potentially, can you get on throttle just that 0.2 of a second sooner? You have to think. Let's look at Ayahuasca's time lap now. Through 4. Nice and wide. Half a tenth slower through Sector 1, unfortunately, this go-round. 1 minute 40 remaining. Let's watch Ayahuasca. Wide. You see, okay, he's definitely taken that corner a little bit wider that time, and you could see visibly, I think that was a kind of a better go-through. Has to be said, I think this could be a good lap there for Ayahuasca, specifically that Sector 2. And it looks like he is going to try to hold on to this timed lap here, using the curb on the way out. 2.5 tenths quicker through Sector 2, and I think it was just taking Turn 7 there, just that little bit wider. And of course, lucky to keep it within the lines there. Bit of a snap. Across the line for Ayahuasca, second place, 104.202, improves by 0.3 of a second. Yep. Less than a minute remaining now. As Nicky 64 is retired, that being in the pit lane. Race Day 2016 on the out lap. Cam Tizzle on the out lap. He's actually going to be beginning his here now. Scornsey's coming down the hill. He'll be up next. Wow, he got as close to that inside barrier, closer than anybody really through Turn 1. That was a little bit sketchy there, if I say so myself. 3 and 4. Nice and wide out of Turn 4, 0.2 of a second quicker through Sector 1. Hardly even using the brakes there. Through Turn 5, up through 6, 15 seconds remaining. Takes it wide, cuts it short. And again, it just almost seems like you could pick up the throttle a little bit sooner. As Lancey seems to have abandoned this timed attempt. Coming around the line now, looks to be Callie Robb. That's going to be Gunner. Time has expired here at the Red Bull Ring. Gunner out of the final corner. He's a little bit quicker anyway through Sector 2. Might do a little bit better here. Across the line, 105. Improves by realistically half a second there. Callie Robb up next. It's going to be 8th for him. Fire up flow to the line. Only 7th. He's only improved by 9 1/1000ths. Cam Tissel's going to go second. Ayahuasca can improve. He's third. Scornsey making his way down the hill, and I believe this is going to be the end of it for Scornsey. He has abandoned that final attempt as Race Day 2016 now. 0.3 of a second quicker through Sector 2. This is where champions are made here. It's on this qualifying attempt. You do not want to be far back in the grid in this one. Down the pit straight and across the line eventually for race day 2016. What's it going to be for him? Only third. 104, 153, and he improved by half a second. And still, Scornsy's time holds water, and he is the pole sitter for the inaugural reverse Red Bull Ring Grand Prix. That was an that was a great improvement from race day, but to still be 2.5 tenths of a second shy, but for what it's worth, Fire Up Flow back there in 7th. It's going to be difficult for him. He's in the thick of it. Scornsy the top spot, Cam Tizzle 2nd, race day 3rd, Ayahuasca 4th. Very close top 4 here. Got Weeb 6th, Shank, Fire Up Flow, Cali Rob, Gunner, and Cake round up the top 10. Only 6 1,000 separate the pair of the Alpines, as Nicky in 11th, 12th is Lancey. 13th, Travis Scott. Now, again, he's got that 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Nicky 64. 14th, Drismic. 15th, Mosser. 16th and 17th, Houdini and Element did not get a chance to put down a time. Element did have a time on the board, was disqualified. Houdini just simply didn't put one together. Shaping up to be an interesting grid here, hoping for the best in this one. And now is the new tradition. We take it over now to the Austrian national anthem. Red Bull gives you wings, friends, and here we are again. And once again, what could be the day that Race Day 2016 claims his 5th Drivers' Championship as the lights turning on now for the formation lap. Let's have a look at what tire strategy we have tonight. I'm assuming it's going to be quite interesting, and it is. I tell you what, 3 out of the top 4 have chosen the hards for this occasion. Majority of the middle of the pack have gone for the mediums. Only 2 else outside the top 10 to have gone hard, that being Brian Mosser and Element. Now, that's a really interesting strategy choice to make. Because I am assuming, again, we're going to have a safety car off this opening start. I'm putting my bet now over 2.5 front wing changes after the first lap. Or over... Sorry. Okay, let's try this again. Listen. Tail the bets. Over 2.5 front wing changes on the first lap, okay? Looking at about plus 150 on that one. Or, conversely, under 1.5 DNFs. That'll be about... I mean, that's a negative 150 any day of the week there, because there's not really any guarantee that anybody will DNF here. But again, I mean, listen, you want to win yourself a parlay, there you go. Scornsy will lead them into that first corner, and again, I am slightly concerned for the structural integrity of the Division 1 grid going through that first corner. I'm not going to say that I don't trust them, but again, you have to say, this is the first time we've ever had ourselves on this circuit, and you'd have to expect that something could go wrong. And we're about to find out just exactly what that might be as the grid lining up here. Making their way, parking it in for the first time at the Red Bull Ring. This could be something of majesty. It could be something of travesty. As the lights turning on a day where Race Day could win his 5th Drivers' Championship, 4 and eventually 5 lights here at the Red Bull Ring. Scoresy on the inside, Cam Tizzle on the outside, and we are away. And that Red Bull has gotten a much better start again. 3 out of the top 4 on the hard tires as they sprawl out behind them. It's going to be Cam Tizzle in that first corner onto the inside. Race Day has made his way around up to the 3rd spot. Gottney Weeb up to 4th. He's trying to hang it well around the outside. On Ayahuasca, he's been shuffled out of position as that's the Alpine on the inside there of Cake Thomas trying to find the inside of Gunner going through turn 3 and then around the outside of turn 4. It's a bit of calamity here as they only now start to kind of get it together. To the inside, Lancey on the Alpine of that of Cake Thomas, and they finally kind of calmed themselves down here. And well, maybe you should have faded my bets indeed, because this has not gone according to plan. But look at them all try this move into the corner at turn 7. They're gonna totally fan out behind them. It's 3 abreast, nearly 4 on the way up the hill in towards turn 7, and there they go into the braking zone. Alpine's braking late. There goes a styrofoam brake marker as they then race their way down the hill through turn 9 and down towards turn 10. That was a calamity, but they've gotten through safely. Scornsey leads by nearly a second and a half. Race Day has gotten his way up to 3rd. Actually, as I say that, as a matter of fact, he was there challenging Cam Tizzle, couldn't quite make it happen. The top 4 have stayed the same. Shankadelic +1, Callie Robb +2. Those are the biggest movers so far. Lancey +2 and Element +2 as well. Nobody needed the change of front wing after the first lap, and I gotta say, I'm quite proud of the Division 1 grid for that, because I expected much worse. Scornsey still leads it again. I think far and away the quickest driver on the grid in today's qualifying session. I think anybody in the top 5 could probably challenge him, but it is going to be about the race pace here and about the overall consistency as well that I think is definitely going to stand the test of the challenge tonight, as Scornsey again took that lead on the outside, the only driver in the top 4 to have started on the mediums, and he has absolutely flown away from the rest of the grid there. There they go into turn 7. Bit of a late break there for Race Day. After the lockup there by the left front tire of the Aston, he's done it cleanly. As we have a yellow flag in the back, Houdini's gone round. That car, I wonder if he's missed the braking zone or he's had help from behind, as he's gone clean into the barrier on the outside, and that is going to be a front wing change. 2-stop strategy, says the video game here. I kind of doubt that. Medium to hards would be the only thing I see necessary in this race, but I could be wrong. As we got ourselves a good battle here for the second position, Cam Tizzle has fallen behind off of Scornsey by an additional 0.5 of a second after that first lap of the Grand Prix. As now Cake Thomas is off track. Cake Thomas has spun to the inside. That's exiting turn number 2, and he will bring up the tail end of the grid now, ahead of Houdini anyway. Oh, sorry, that was yes. Who was I thinking of? Yeah, Houdini was the one that had gone off track there, either way. Up the hill, exiting turn 7. The question is now, do we see any overtakes into the downhill left-hander at turn 7? Again, the crest and then the braking zone itself, the apex of the corner, is totally blind until you need to see it in turn in. And I think that's going to kind of deter a lot of the potential charging drivers from behind tonight, considering it is just that sketchy of a corner to go through. And as well here through turn 10, the barrier immediately on the inside, the barriers immediately on the outside. As you can tell, they are all taking it cautiously here. DRS activated down the pit straight and across the line to begin the 4th lap of the Grand Prix, as Scornsey only now leads by half a second instead of the 2 seconds he was at before. What has happened with Scornsey? What have we missed that's caused him to cede over a second and a half here? I'm not entirely sure, but what I am sure of this is that Cam Tizzle's now going to have DRS to the back end of the Red Bull, and this one's going to be blown wide open, as Callie Robb could even have a look at Shankadelic here if he'd like. Again, if Race Day outscores Fire Up Flow by 12 points this evening, he will win the Drivers' Championship here tonight at the penultimate round of the season, and that will be his 5th in Midwest history. He will tie Scornsey's championship total of 5. 2.5 of a second there. Ayahuasca way up to the back end there of Race Day into 7 as we have a yellow flag. That is the McLaren of Brian Mosser. Yes, it is, and I don't know what he's hit there, if anything. I think he's maybe gotten a little bit early on throttle, and he has gone round. Down the hill into turn 10, Cam Tizzle, again, has lost a little bit of time here. and race day now. DRS activated down the pit straight. You could see way up then to the back end of the Aston Martin in question, and he's just not quite going to have the line through the corner to be able to make it happen. I have a feeling that, you know, even with the DRS zones that are here, there's just really not a lot of ways to create overtakes, at least from the initial offerings that we are seeing. As I say that, Drismic has lost position there to Element, and again, they're now side-by-side exiting turn 2, now through turn 3 wheel-to-wheel, and he's finally going to put the Aston Martin to bed here. But that was, I'll tell you what, quite close indeed. I don't know how it came about that those two were side-by-side exiting 2, but it definitely happened. And now it's Lancey to the back end of Gunner for the 9th position, going up through turn 7. And I think the Ferrari has not gotten away quite as well. DRS activated to the inside, and there you go, easy as you'd like for the Dutchman. Oh, Kelly Robb has slid. Yes, he has. What's happened there with Kelly Robb? Well, we didn't quite catch what happened there, but to my estimation, he's had a lockup on the rear end, and the car has just slid into the corner. He's not gone for a spin. He's not hit anything. I think it is just purely error on braking there, and he has lost a couple of positions now. As go, look at this, Gunner and Nicky side by side, or sorry, that's Gunner and Lancey coming off that final corner. I tell you what, I'm allowed to be wrong, aren't I? I didn't think we were going to see much of anything happen there, and we totally have, and, well, you haven't seen it. Oh, a side by side again, Drismic and Element. Oh, and they're both going to go spinning. Well, they were side by side. Sorry, Element stayed fine. That car was definitely sideways, though. Yeah, they were wheel-to-wheel going through turn 1. Drismic was on the inside, hit the side of the Aston. I didn't think as if the Aston had forced him to the inside and off the track. I think the Drismic just pushed a little bit high into the corner, and the back end came around. That's certainly what it looked like. Is now Ayahuasca. We'll go back to the battle of the top 4 here. Business is about to pick up here in Division 1. As Ayahuasca brings up the rear end, Kelly Robb has actually gone around the outside of Fire Up Flow through turn 7. Goodness me, what a move that was, and it's not quite over yet. We'll hang with this for the time being. Wheel to wheel they go down the what I would say is the back straight here. It was actually turn 9, and in now towards turn 10, and Fire Up Flow's been able to put that one to bed. Very nicely done for the McLaren, who needs to keep a hold of his championship hopes here. Exiting turn 1, now through turn 2, and again, Scornsey, which initially had a 2-second advantage over the rest of the grid, has since lost. Again, a second and a half of his advantage that he did have, and I don't quite know what happened for that to have come about, but Cam Tizzle is definitely right up pressuring that Red Bull now. But Scornsey, you know, being the 5-time champion that he is, has absolutely learned how to deal with pressure. As we have a yellow flag, that's the Haas of Drismic. Yes, it is. That car is off to the inside, exiting turn 2, and he's actually slid quite a ways up the circuit there, as now Scornsey having to defend Cam Tizzle around the outside. He'll choose the long way around in through turn 7, and look at this. What a move that was, if he's able to pull it off, and I'm not sure, well, yes, he absolutely is there. Race Day next up in line. Race Day has DRS. Look at this. Down to the inside. Race Day, double overtake through the corner, has to really lock up the brakes there, and he's immediately lost the spots back. Oh, goodness me, testicular fortitude from Race Day, but it's going to cost him more than help him, as now, 2 by 2, they enter the first corner. Scornsey the outside, Cam Tizzle up the inside, and he's taken the top spot. What a lap that was, goodness me, and it's still not over yet. Shankadelic watches on and hopes for conundrum ahead, as there very nearly was. Cam Tizzle had tried the double going in towards turn 10. He overshot it in the effort to late brake and nearly hit the wall on the outside, which would have surely ended his race. Instead, he only loses the 2 spots that he initially gained. Exiting turn 7 up the hill. DRS activated here. As you can see, they're starting to get a little bit comfortable with the circuit now and actually attempt some of these moves that I didn't quite initially think were possible as they file in. And now Ayahuasca tags on to the back end of Race Day here. Shankadelic is definitely firmly grasping the picture here. I don't think he's quite gotten away that well, unfortunately. What I initially thought was going to be right up there battling with Ayahuasca is not the case. As who's this? That's Scornsey into the pit lane. Lap 8 was the most that he has taken this tire. And I wonder if this is a front wing change. This definitely appears to be unplanned. And no, he's just going for that set of hards early. Wow, okay. So that's something we didn't initially foresee. As to the inside there, Lancey's gotten around that of Gunner. Nicely done for Lancey. Bit of a slide, getting on acceleration now to turn 2. Promotes Shankadelic to 4th, Ayahuasca to 3rd, Race Day to 2nd, and of course Cam Tizzle was in the lead to begin with. Up through 7. DRS, of course, will be activated for everybody behind that of Cam Tizzle. Race Day will be the first driver up, and of course, there's only the one detection point for these 2 DRS zones here. So we get a little bit of a slide on the back end from Cam Tizzle. DRS activated again here for Race Day, even if he... Oh, no, there is a detection point there. I was wrong about that. And now Race Day around the outside in towards turn 10, and he's made that... Oh, not quite. He has made it happen. Only Justin. Wow, that one was sketchy. Oh, and Cam Tizzle hasn't gotten away well. Ayahuasca really wanted that to the inside, and now Cam Tizzle's going to have it back. Wow, okay. Race Day had gotten it round the outside there at Cam Tizzle. I think maybe they made a little bit of contact. Ayahuasca wanted to go to the inside to be able to try to overtake both of them and didn't quite have that opportunity given to him. As then Cam Tizzle immediately went back down to the inside of Race Day in towards turn 1 and took the spot back. What a move there for the Mercedes, as now we have, what was that? Callie Robbins just entered the pit lane, as well as now Kate Thomas. And the hard tires are going on. And I wonder if Scornsey's stop was early by definition, or are we now seeing... Yeah, it's got to be early. Nobody on those medium tires has stopped, and we've got, you know, obviously the majority of the grid did start on the mediums. Of course, now it's about a 50-50 split between those who have and have not stopped, who started on those yellow-striped mediums. But I'm thinking, again, that was hell of an undercut there by Scornsey. I do wonder if that's going to hurt him. Having an undercut is fine, but he's done it there by at least, what, 2-3 laps. It's a bit rich, isn't it? Tell you what, Kanye Weeb nearly lost the car entering the pit lane that time. That was a hell of a slide there for the Willie. As we'll look back again, Race Day was very close that time to Cam Tizzle. About a tenth and a half, didn't quite have a look. Ayahuasca in the picture as well. Again, the top 4 that we did have. 3 out of the top 4, Cam Tizzle, Race Day, and Ayahuasca, who started 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all started on the hard tire. Shankadelic is the currently highest up driver still on the mediums, as well as Lancey Gunner. And now Nicky64 entering the pit lane. He'll be the kind of last of the initial medium tire runners there. As Ayahuasca right to the back end of Race Day, exiting turn 7 now, DRS activated. Race Day will have it as well, but Ayahuasca's gotten away better. I think Ayahuasca's going to have a look for it here. Nah, he just didn't quite have the track position to make that one happen. Although, what I will say, I think he may have... I was going to say he got away better than Race Day. That doesn't appear to be the case here. Although now Ayahuasca looks to be reeling him in. Top 3 into turn 10 as they make their way. And again, it seems like it is just such a dogfight between anybody in the top 5. Shankadelic involved as well. As now to the inside, Ayahuasca wants it on Race Day. He's had to back out there, unfortunately. Race Day was going to have gone around the outside and essentially cut across the nose there of Ayahuasca. And the driver himself on the low end of it is backed out. Gunner brings up the rear of this battle here. Well, I say that Element is involved as well. Lancey only about a 0.7 of a second up the road from these two, as Scornsey seems to have made at least 3 spots back since having stopped. Lancey's going to be in a hell of a hole here with that DRS to his disadvantage in this case, having be outside of a second of the car ahead. Gunner, Element, and Scornsey will all have DRS behind it. Scornsey's actually done quite well already to get himself back up towards this battle here. He did. It was kind of on the outside looking in at the beginning of the lap, but here he is now firmly within the picture. Is now, oh, look at this. So, Gunner wanted the inside. Element had to react and actually almost initially wanted the outside. They've all kind of backed out of it there. I think it was just out of safety, realistically. But here they go now, down the hill, headed towards turn number 10. And I think the battle for the top spot isn't going to see anything happen here unless does Race Day have a look into the corner. He did not. Gunner got within a 1/10 of the back end of Lancey in towards 10. As now Scornsey watches on. Gunner in the Ferrari. Does he try the inside of Lancey into the corner? No, they've all decided to play nice on this occasion, although both the Aston of Element and the Ferrari of Gunner have gone wide through that corner. Scornsey's actually nearly been chopped in half by Element there, rejoining the circuit. As now they enter turn 4 and 5. The Ferrari of Gunner again goes wide. Element to the inside. This is a tough corner to go through here. It is a blind corner and there's not even really a braking zone with it. It's going to be taken differently by the majority of the drivers as Element around the outside. Cam Tizzle and Race Day got right close there. Scornsy has snuck his way. Oh, no! Okay, so Scornsy snuck his way underneath. Element got heavy on the throttle, went into the side of the Red Bull, and I tell you what, that could even be side pod damage there for Scornsy, as that was a hell of a hit there, at least a noticeable one, from Element to the right side of the Red Bull of Scornsy. That could be detrimental, to say the least, and it's not to anybody's fault there. Scornsy snuck it to the inside. He noticed the gap that he could potentially have on Element, and Element's car got unsettled getting on throttle and went right into the right-hand side pod of Scornsy's Red Bull. That one could be terrible. Race Day in control of this one. Cam Tizzle has been overtaken this previous time by with the aid of DRS. Two-tenths of a second now. Cam Tizzle up the inside, and no, not quite going to have it. Oh, but I think he might get a better getaway here. Race Day had to go a little bit wide. Ayahuasca's definitely not gotten away that well. Here goes Cam Tizzle. What does he decide to do here? Will he try the inside? Yes, he will. Oh, is he heading to the pit lane? Yes. Okay, so Cam Tizzle entering the pit lane there, and he was well even on pace with Race Day. I don't know, this is a bit of an early stop, I would think, for Cam Tizzle, the first of the drivers on the hard tires to actually have made a scheduled stop here. Into the pit lane, medium tires going on. His teammate of Element not all that far behind, having also just entered the pit lane. That means Ayahuasca will take the top spot, as Lancey has now entered the pit lane. We have a yellow flag. That's one of the Haas's. Houdini has gone around. Yes, he has. He's spun that car and has respun it back into somewhat of a correct direction. There he is, and there he goes. Yeah, not sure what's happened there, but he is hopefully going to cede position here to the two oncoming traffic leaders of Ayahuasca and Race Day. And I tell you what, Race Day appears on the outside to be struggling for the time being. That Mercedes does not quite look happy. I think he's probably going to be making a stop here very shortly anyway. So neither of the top two decide to stop that time. Scornsy will, of course, re-inherit the lead of this race as Shankadelic around the outside of Gottney Weeb, even that before entering turn 10. Nicely done for the Red Bull, up to 5th. Of course, Weeb now with DRS. He's got quite a good run here. Let's see, does he try to get him back? Nah, he's not going to quite have the real estate to make that one happen. Fire Flow and Cali Rob, of course, also in the picture as well. I just want to do a quick little smidge of math here. So 60 points for the top spot. Race Day currently in second. That'll put him at 55. Of course, Fire Up Flow in 7th position. The current gap between the two is Ayahuasca now picking up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Race Day takes the top spot on actual merit as well. He's done that with DRS. Race Day in the position he is currently in. If he is to win this Grand Prix, of course, we're still only at about half distance. Anything's possible. First place, 60 points. 7th place, 42. Race Day 2016, right now, is on the brink of winning that 5th title. Goodness me, what a day this would be for Race Day 2016 if he is to be able to make this one happen. He's firmly earned it as well. He's done not necessarily everything right this season, but he's been far and away the most consistent, I would say, in this season here. We'll just go along with what the driver's sheet says. Race Day winner in Bahrain week 1, 4th in China, didn't start Miami. 9th, 15th, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 8th, 1st, 1st, and 10th. compared to Fire Up Flow, who only has just the one podium on the season. Race day now entering the pit lane. Fire Up Flow 4th in Bahrain, 3rd in China, 4th in Miami, 11th, 7th, 4th, 6th, 12th, 4th twice more, 6th, 8th, and 13th. Of course, Shankadelic taking the win last time out. 2nd place belonged to Cali Robb, and 3rd was that of Gottney Weeb. As Race Day is going to exit the pit lane here. Dropping down to P8, he's actually behind that of Fire Up Flow. Only just, I tell you what, this could be a rightly close battle here. Just assuming Fire Up Flow has already stopped. Yes, he has. 7-lap old hard tires, one of those who started on the mediums. Cali Robb in this battle as well for the time being. Towards the back end of Race Day 2016, as this time by will be officially halfway distance of what has so far been a pretty entertaining race here. I gotta say, the moves that they have made have been phenomenal. Let's say that. Race day now to the inside, and look at this. 2 championship rivals side by side, and with this move, Race Day could continue to climb and eventually seal his fate as champion of Division 1. Or will the tables turn and we'll have to wait until next time out to be able to crown that? Well, it could go either way, but Race Day on these fresh medium tires in what is his first of what is potentially probably going to be 2 stops here. 10th and a half between himself and Weeb now, as these are the closest battles on track for the time being. Right up still close to the back end. Oh, that was the Ferrari of Cali Robb, had gone quite wide there. Exiting turn 2, actually so wide, in fact, I thought he was going to hit the wall on the way out. It certainly looked slightly sketchy. 0.3 of a second, Race Day back to Weeb. Cali Robb is actually in potential here of overtaking Fire Up Flow for the 7th position. Again, Ayahuasca with the top spot as, oh, what's happening here? Race Day, I think maybe wanted to make that move happen around Weeb, and something had happened. That Mercedes had gone kind of out of the way there. Weeb is going to have DRS, thankfully for him, because of the back marker Haas. Oh, that's got to be hella trippy there for Race Day to be able to look at. Much better acceleration, though, for Race Day now to the inside, and he has made that happen. Scornsy into the pit lane now for the 2nd time. On only 10-lap old hard tires, what is the move here for the Red Bull? And it will be an additional set of hards. 2nd stop done here for Scornsy in this one. So that pretty much establishes this as solidly a 2-stopper. Scornsy, again, has decided to go undercut on both pit stops here. Will that be a mistake, or will that come back to help him? I'm not entirely sure. At least good to see somewhat of a interesting tire strategy. We'll put it to you like that. I mean, for what it's worth, anyway. A lot of tracks don't even have that. It's just like, oh, start on the medium, put on the hards halfway through, or start on the hards, put on the mediums halfway through. That's really all it is. But we've actually got a slight bit of discrepancy here. That's pretty fun. Of course, now the grid starts to be slightly spread out. Of course, we are going to be seeing more rounds of pit stops on the way here shortly with, 16-ish laps. Oh, that's the Haas gone a bit wide there. That was that of, I want to say that was Houdini. Yeah, had gone a little bit deep into the braking zone, a couple of tires into the gravel. Fire Up Flow 0.6 of a second away from Gottney Weeb for that 5th position. Again, Fire Up Flow needs all the positions he can get here. He's got to be, essentially, to keep his championship hopes alive, he's got to have Race Day score 11 points or less, more than him here, and that will be taken. And that championship battle will be taken into the final round. Although at that point, anyway, Race Day still has such a massive advantage, but that at least puts the pressure on Race Day that he's got to finish the Grand Prix. Which doesn't sound like a lot, I'll admit. But I'll put it to you this way. Back when I raced in Division 3, this was Season 7, Season 8, I believe this was. No, Season 7, surely. Going into the final round, we had qualified. Me and the Mercedes teammate there had qualified. What was that, P7 and P9? I was in 9th, and pretty much all we had to do was just have a halfway decent Grand Prix, not get into any troubles. We got into that first corner at Shanghai and just got totally taken out. 3 cars to the right. One of them had cut across and hit another and then hit me, and my day was done. And we lost out on the Constructors' title by 1 point. And that was the last time I had ever raced an F1 car competitively. Into the pit lane now for Ayahuasca. Please ignore the Vietnam flashback I just had. Anyway. But it's a genuine thing. I mean, I say that slightly jokingly, but it is a genuine thing that if you put pressure on the simplest of things, there is more of an opportunity for that to be, well, to lack of better terms, there's more of an opportunity for that to be cocked up. There really is. I mean, we go into this next round and race day pretty much just has to finish. Now there's pressure involved on finishing. Pause. But you know what I mean? Like, that sort of thing now becomes something where race day's got to think about. You know, you want to be in a position to race day, your goal at this stage should be, let me think as little as I possibly can. Because if you think more than you need to, then you're going to have some sort of issue surrounding that. It's true. It absolutely is. Fire up flow, 0.2 of a second. Still can't quite find the inside of Gottney Weeb through that section of the track, but it was a fair effort from him. As we're coming up closer on 10 laps to go. Oh, as Kelly Robin to the pit lane. We got a yellow flag. That's the Haas again. I believe that's Houdini heading into the pit lane there. I'm not rightly sure what happened with him as Gunner exiting the pit lane. Now, race day within nearly a half a second on Shankadelic. This one looking slightly possible here. Again, we still think there's at least one more stop on the way for those involved. It's not entirely concrete. But again, Scornsey started on the mediums, took the hards, only about 10 laps, has stopped again for an additional set of hards. We saw that first window for those who did start on the hard tires. That was about lap 16. Somewhere around there. Is that about right, Shirley? Yeah. It's only been about 8 laps or so since that window, as speaking of which, Cam Tizzle into the pit lane. I'll tell you what, they're slightly reluctant to take these medium tires anything more than 8 laps at the moment. Race day 2016 to the inside, and he will get Shankadelic for the top spot, and he'll keep it within the white lines as well. But again, race day still has at least one more stop here in what we would guess to be 3 laps or less. Fire up flow to the back end of Gottney Weeb. Fire up flow, currently 13-lap-old hard tires. That's going to be a hell of a task for him to take it the rest of the way if that's going to be his goal. I don't quite believe that it will be. 0.4 of a second or less. Let's see. Is he going to be able to make something happen on Weeb here? They're equal on tire age anyway. Shankadelic on those 10-lap-old hards. You got to think those are probably in a better way than the 6-lap-old mediums, as now Cake Thomas has got a 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits. I would assume that Shankadelic may be better off here in not a long amount of time, if he isn't already. Start to think those mediums are going to be jumping off the side of a cliff here rather shortly. We'll have to wait and see. Fire up flow. Oh, and that was a slide for him. A bit of a lockup there, potentially on the back end, heading in towards turn 7. Doesn't appear he's hit anything, and nobody's hit him, so that's a win there for Fire up flow, despite the bit of a temporary slide. And he will be into the pit lane, Fire up flow. Oh, and another bit of a slide there. Okay, that's about the 5th time today we've seen a driver enter the pit lane there and almost bin the car on the inside of the pit entry. I have to say, that might be slightly difficult to be able to go through. It's medium tires on there for Fire Up Flow. I think there's a slight bit of a bump there at the left-hander, which is kind of the reason we're seeing so many guys kind of slide to the right. Do a bit of a crisscross on the way through there, potentially. That'd be my guess. Scornsey 0.3 of a second away from Weeb here, going through 5 and eventually 6 and up into the braking zone at 7 here very shortly. I don't believe there's going to be a challenge from Scornsey for the time being. Again, Scornsey has done the undercut on both tire strategies here. Only did take those hards about 10 laps and then has put on an additional set of hards. I kind of think that the preferred strategy was that they were going to take the probably medium, hard, medium. I think Scornsey's done medium, hard, hard. Ayahuasca, I think, has done that as well. Scornsey around the outside has made that happen. Race day now into the pit lane. Scornsey stays out. Race day on his way in and onto another set of mediums. Ayahuasca has only just gone hard medium. Wait, that can't be right. Ayahuasca only one stop? He took the hards that long? Seriously? Am I right about that? There's no way. Let's see into the pit lane now. Is there a way I can see race director? I just simply don't believe it, honestly. Ayahuasca, hard to medium. That was on 21. Yeah, that's all there is. Wow, okay. Hey, fair enough. All power to him. That's impressive. But taking the tires that long in a race that, again, appears to be a two-stopper at the end of the day. I mean, realistically. Race Day comes out of the pit lane here. He's in 6th at the moment. He's got about 5 seconds up to Cam Tizzle for that fifth position. I would assume Shankadelic, probably Weeb as well, are going to be stopping here at least one more time. And there goes Weeb anyway. That will put him at least still behind Tizzle, Ayahuasca, and Scornsy. So I'm not rightly sure if he's going to be in a fantastic position here. Gunner now. Sorry, Fire Up Flow. Trying to work on Gunner. Oh, and that's a 6-second penalty for Ayahuasca. Or, sorry, his third second penalty of the day. His second 3-second penalty of the day. By God Almighty, I've got some sort of issue. The more that I have casted Grand Prix racing, virtual Grand Prix racing anyway, the more I think I've developed Tourette's anyway. Or not Tourette's, what's the... dyslexia. 0.2 of a second here between Fire Flow and Gunner, making their way up through turn 5. Acceleration definitely seems to be better, at least that time, in the way of Gunner. I tell you what, Fire Flow's car still does look quite hooked up here in the grand scheme of things. Of course, although Cali Robb and Gunner, the Great Wall of Ferrari here, could potentially be in the way of the progression of Fire Flow. And of course, Gottney Weeb is kind of poking his head into this scenario as well. And Shankadelic now into the pit lane. That promotes his teammate Scornsy to the lead. Shankadelic onto the medium tires. Cam Tizzle now way to the inside of Ayahuasca, and he's made that one happen. Race Day 2016, and again, as you can see, still quite a ways away behind that of the top 3 for the time being. And between 4th and 7th. Sorry, let's call it an even 3rd and 7th now. Because of Ayahuasca's 6-second penalty, that will put him behind that of Race Day. Fastest lap does belong to Race Day, so you can take that 3rd place total of 52, add a point to that, 53. Oh, 53 minus 42. He'll be a point shy of wrapping up the title as it stands. He needs to have a 62-point gap to be able to win the title. He's got 50. He needs to outscore Fire Up Flow by 12 here tonight, and currently he's outscoring him by 11. And I tell you what, Fire Up Flow... Oh, he has actually just lost the position there to Gottney Weeb. I didn't even notice. So Weeb gets around Fire Up Flow. And yeah, that'll absolutely be what Race Day needs if this result holds. And it's coming down to the wire here. Now Gottney Weeb. Can he find a way to the inside of Cali Robb there? He's actually made that happen. Nicely done there. Fire Flow having to hold behind. Oh, and wide goes Cali Robb. And now wheel to wheel. Still as they go. And oh, Fire Flow went definitely heavy on the curb there through 3. That car got really unsettled, but he's going to make it back up to 7th again. That was close. As Shankadelic, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. I don't think that's going to change up position in the grand scheme of things for the time being. Race Day is now within... I shaved off about 0.2 of a... about 2 seconds to the back end of Ayahuasca. Mickey 64, 3-second penalty. That'll put him up to 3 seconds on the day, just his first penalty. Race Day 2016, he's got to find one additional point for the time being. Fire Up Flow 7th himself will eventually finish 3rd with the fastest lap. 53 points to the 42 to be scored by Fire Up Flow. He'll be a point shy of wrapping up the title in today's Grand Prix. And coming to the line this time will be 5 laps to go. And of course, as well, we see this. Fire Up Flow is realistically not out of the woods here because He's trying to hunt down Gottney Weeb. If he gets around Gottney Weeb, he will at least be safe, I think is the way to put this one. If Cali Robb takes him, it's pretty much all over. And I tell you what, Cali Robb, 0.6 of a second ahead, and Fire Flow is not gaining any time to Weeb here, despite having DRS. He's barely holding on to that 1 second gap that he does have. Again, of course, if Race Day does finish second somehow, 2nd to 6th. Oh, as we have a yellow flag, who's that? Looks like one of the Haas's is going around there. Of course, let's pick up the belief that somehow Race Day could finish second with the 55 points scored. Oh, even still. $55 to $44 is only 11. So, Race Day, to definitely win this title, this is what he's got to do. This is how it's got to happen for Race Day. Race Day has to finish second and Fire Up Flow 7th or below, or Race Day finish third and have Fire Up Flow finish 8th or below, is our current standing right now for how this title shapes up. For the time being, Race Day still 3 seconds behind, and Race Day on those 6-lap-old mediums, he had to stop that second time. I think, again, Race Day's title hopes for the time being rest upon Cali Robb and his ability to get round Fire Up Flow. As it appears Lancey's gotten around Gunner in through turn 1. Good-looking move there from Lancey, it seemed. As much as I say that Fire Up Flow's not really catching Gottney Weeb, Weeb is not really pulling away from Flow here. Cali Robb is really not even catching him either, to be completely honest. 9-lap-old hard tires for Cali Robb. The 7-lap-old mediums for Flow. You'd have to expect that potentially Cali Robb's tires will incredibly fall off here. Or sorry, well, realistically, both of them. I would expect the hard tires, obviously, to last longer. And those mediums, again, we solemnly see a driver take those medium tires longer than 10 laps in this Grand Prix. Race Day now within 3 seconds of Ayahuasca. And, of course, Ayahuasca only has about half a second up to Cam Tizzle ahead. But Race Day now in the 7-lap-old mediums is not looking in a position, looking increasingly likely as Fire Up Flow is going to live to die another day, realistically, for the time being. Travis Scott, now with a 3-second penalty of his own. Again, it's going to be up to Cali Robb here. Believe it or not, this championship is going to rest on Cali Robb's shoulders. If he does get round and stay round of Fire Up Flow, Race Day will win the title on the current total of points he has accumulated. If not, and Fire Up Flow finishes 7th, and Race Day does not finish in 2nd place, this one will go to the final round of the season. That final round as well being the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil. What a place to end a championship season, by the way. What a phenomenal choice that was. As now it's 0.8 of a second between Cali Robb and Fire Up Flow, and Fire Up Flow's actually quite in the way of hunting down Gottney Weeb here. Well, I tell you what, Fire Up Flow gets this position, and he's still in it. It'll be 2 laps to go at the line this next time by. Fire Up Flow to the inside. Oh, he's just not been able to make it happen. And Cali Robb currently has no answer. Race Day's hope now has to be that Cam Tizzle picks up a penalty within these final 2 laps. Or that something happens for him to be able to get ahead of any of the drivers in the top 2. Ayahuasca's already going to fall back with his 6-second penalty. We know that. He's got to find a way either around Cam Tizzle or Scornsey. And he's got to hope that it's in the way of a penalty, because right now he's not going to take him on pace. Not going to happen. Or he's got to hope that Cali Robb has something left in the tank here to be able to get around Fire Up Flow. 2 incredibly close battles. 2 laps to go. The implications at play for everything happening here. I tell you what, again, I think strategy aside, this has been a fairly good race. The moves that have been made tonight have been those of class and quality. And as well, for the first time that we've seen these drivers take on this track, hopefully it finds another schedule, because I have the feeling that, you know, if we do race here again, you'd have to think they'd be more daring in what maneuvers they could make. Cam Tizzle up to Scornsy, half a second now. And again, it's got to be that one of these drivers picks up some form of a penalty. Even then, I'm not sure it's going to happen. Again, let's just make sure I have my math correct. Currently between the two is a 50-point gap, as we have a yellow flag that's a Haas has gone round. The most amount of points you can get in a race weekend is 62. 12 points needs to be the gap from race day back to fire up flow, as we're on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Right now, race day will finish third with the fastest lap. That'll put him at 53 points. Fire up flow will be seventh with 42. Race day looks like for the time being will be a point shy of this one, unless does something happen ahead. Oh, and Cam Tizzle's got the penalty. Oh, goodness me, has it happened? I don't think it's going to happen, though. Yeah, I'm just looking at the Delta. That would have been helpful not too long ago. But I don't think, unless race day pulls out the pace here to finish second, or unless there's some sort of incident, oh, it's not going to be one today. Cam Tizzle now to the inside is not going to have it. Scornsy coming out of the final corner, down the hill and across the line. Scornsy will win the inaugural Reverse Red Bull Ring GP. Ayahuasca crosses the line third. Race day only up to the third spot. Fire Up Flow has now gotten around Gottney Weeb through the final corner. No, he'll get sent back again, but it's not going to matter. This will head to Brazil. 53 points scored from race day 2016. 42 scored by Fire Up Flow. Only 11 points. Race day is a point shy of winning the title, but next week he's only got to score 1 point. Congratulations to Scornsy. Thank y'all for joining us, and we will see you next time out at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil, for the final round of Season 16. We've seen it all this season. Brand new tracks, the 5th anniversary Grand Prix, a hell of a lot of action, and a championship battle that looks like it will be won again by race day, but we'll have to wait and see. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time.